Okay, so hey guys, I'm going to be teaching you how to complete the square. Okay, so we're going to first look at when 8 does not equal 1. So we're going to start with this equation. So next we're going to subtract c from both sides. And then we're going to add and subtract half of b squared. Okay, so then we add half of b squared to both sides. And that's our equation. And then we factor it. And then lastly, we're going to add c and negative half of b squared to both sides. And that'll give us our final equation. Okay, so now just to give you an example. So let's say we were given this equation right here. So first we're going to minus 7 from both sides, and then we're going to take half of 4 and square it. We'll add 4 to both sides and then factor it. Later, we're going to add 3 to both sides, and then we're finished. Okay, so now we're going to start working on equations where a does not necessarily equal to 1. So first we're going to get our same equation, just to start off with. Okay, so first we're going to subtract c from both sides here. And then we're going to factor out a. Okay, so then we're going to add and subtract half of a over b x. Okay, next we're going to times half of b over a x by a, and then subtract that from both sides. This gives us this equation right here. So now we're going to factor. And so it'll give us this equation on the board here. And then lastly, we're going to add everything other than y back over to the other side to give us our final equation. Okay, so now let's do some sample problems. So let's say that the zoo charges $10 for admission, and on average, 80 people go every day. For each $2 increase, attendance drops by 5 people. What price would give the zoo the maximum revenue? Okay, so then we would get this equation. And from there, we would form an equation after multiplying it. Okay, so then we would subtract 800 from both sides and take half of 6 and square it. This would give us 9. Then we're going to move the 9 over to the other side by multiplying it by 5, then adding the result. Next, we're going to factor the equation. Lastly, we're going to add it all together and plug it back in. And then we get our final answer, which will be $13. Hi, my name is Poe, and I need help maximizing my fences area. I have 44 meters of fence to use. So with this, I came up with these two equations. And so I figured 44 divided by 2, I can divide the other variables by 2. And then here, I set in the perimeter for 22. Okay, so now after getting these equations where x is equal to something in both of them, we can put them together, multiply them, and start completing the square. We get area equals to negative x squared plus 22x. So then we can factor out the negative and take half of 22 and square it. This gives us 121. So we then multiply the negative 121 by a negative and subtract it to the other side. We then factor the rest. This gives us our answer that to maximize space we need 11 by 11. 11 meters by 11 meters for the length and the width. Thank you.
Created using PowToon.